I found out my husband cheated on me with my own sister, and my whole family turned against me. But not karma. Before continuing the story, let us know in the comments which city you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you won't miss more stories, and leave your like on the video. I left work early that Tuesday because I had a migraine that wouldn't quit, the kind that makes fluorescent lights feel like ice picks. My boss actually insisted I go home, which never happens in corporate accounting. I remember feeling grateful as I drove through afternoon traffic, thinking I'd take some medicine and sleep it off before my husband got home. Our house was in one of those cookie-cutter subdivisions where every third house looks identical. I pulled into the driveway at 2:47 p.m. I know the exact time because I glanced at the dashboard clock thinking I'd have at least 3 hours alone. The front door was unlocked. Not unusual. My husband worked from home most days, but his car wasn't in the garage. I assumed he'd gone out for groceries or a run. I walked through the foyer, dropping my purse on the console table. That's when I heard it. A sound that didn't belong. Low voices from the living room. Then laughter. Her laughter. My sister's laughter. My feet moved forward on their own. Some part of my brain was still innocent, still assuming she'd stopped by to visit, that they were just talking. But my body already knew. My hands were shaking before I reached the doorway. They were on the couch. My husband's shirt was on the floor. My sister's dress was bunched around her waist. They didn't hear me at first, too absorbed in each other to notice the woman standing frozen in her own living room doorway. When my sister finally turned her head and saw me, she didn't scramble away. She didn't look ashamed. She just stopped. Looked at me with this strange expression, like I'd interrupted something important but ultimately inconvenient. My husband sat up slowly, not bothering to cover himself. No panic in his eyes, just tired resignation. "How long?" I heard myself ask. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. "Does it matter?" he said, reaching for his shirt. My sister stood up, adjusting her dress with steady hands. "We didn't plan this," she said, and the casualness in her tone made my stomach drop. "It just happened." "How long?" I repeated. 14 months, my husband said flatly. Give or take. 14 months. More than a year. While I was working 60-hour weeks to help pay off his student loans. While I was organizing family dinners where the three of us sat around the same table. While I was showing her pictures of vacation spots, asking her opinion on which resort to book for our anniversary. "I'm not going to apologize," my sister said suddenly. Her chin lifted slightly, defiant. "You can't help who you fall in love with." The words didn't make sense at first. Love. She was calling this love. "You're my sister," I said stupidly. "And he was never really yours," she replied. "Not in any way that mattered. You were always too busy working, too focused on your career. Someone had to actually be here for him." My husband didn't contradict her. He just stood there buttoning his shirt, watching me with something like pity. "I want you out," I said. "Both of you. Now." "This is my house too," my husband said calmly. "Legally. You can't just kick me out. Then I'll leave." Fine. That was it. No begging, no tears from either of them. My sister picked up her purse, kissed him on the cheek, kissed him right in front of me, and walked past without another word. I stood in that living room for a long time after they left separately, in his truck and her sedan. The afternoon sun was still streaming through the windows, dust motes floating peacefully in the light. Everything looked exactly the same as it had that morning. Same throw pillows I'd arranged on the weekend. Same framed photos on the mantle. Our wedding, family vacations, my son's school pictures. The normalcy of it all made everything worse somehow. The migraine was gone. I couldn't feel anything at all. Just this vast, hollow numbness where my life used to be. Eventually, I called my mother. She would know what to do. She would help me make sense of this. She always did. "Mom," I said when she answered. "I need you." "What's wrong?" I came home and..." The words tangled in my throat. "My husband and my sister. They've been for over a year." Silence. Long enough that I thought the call had dropped. "Mom?" "Well," she said finally, her voice tight. "These things happen. We'll talk about this later. I'm in the middle of something." She hung up. I sat on the hotel bed that night, a cheap place near the highway that smelled like cigarettes and industrial cleaner, and stared at the ceiling. The walls were thin enough that I could hear the couple next door arguing about money. My phone stayed silent. No calls. No texts. Nobody checking if I was okay. That's when I understood. I wasn't going to wake up from this. There was no mistake to clear up, no misunderstanding to resolve. This was my life now. and I was completely, utterly alone. The hotel room became my prison for 3 days. I called in sick to work, which I never did. My boss sounded concerned but didn't push. I barely left the bed except to use the bathroom. Lying there, staring at the water-stained ceiling, my mind wouldn't stop replaying moments I'd dismissed or ignored. Like a film reel stuck on repeat, showing me all the ways I'd been blind. The dinner parties we'd hosted. My husband always seated my sister next to him, always made sure her wine glass stayed full. "Your sister has such refined taste," he'd say. "She really knows how to appreciate the little things." And my sister, always dressed just a little too carefully for casual family dinners. Hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless. She'd lean in when he talked, touch his arm when she laughed at his jokes, right in front of me. I remembered last Thanksgiving. I'd been exhausted from working late every night that week, trying to close quarterly reports. I'd fallen asleep on the couch after dinner. When I woke up at midnight, the house was dark. My husband was in bed. My sister's car was gone. At the time, I'd thought nothing of it, but now I saw it differently. The way she'd volunteered to help clean up, the way he'd stayed behind too. How long had they been alone together while I slept 20 feet away? The business trips. I traveled once a month for work, usually 3 or 4 days. My sister had started offering to check in on my husband. "You work so hard," she'd say. "Someone should make sure he's eating real food and not just takeout." I'd been grateful. I'd actually thanked her for spending time with my husband while I was gone. She'd take him meals. They'd watch movies together. Once I'd FaceTimed home and they were both on the couch. My sister had answered his phone. "He's in the bathroom," she'd said. "We're just hanging out." The comments. I'd written them off as awkward humor, but they'd been barbs all along. "Must be nice to have a career you actually chose," she'd said once. "Some of us just had to figure out how to be decorative. You always got the practical genes," she'd said at a family dinner. "I just got stuck with the pretty ones." My mother had laughed. Pretty is powerful too. Now I understood she'd been resentful. Envious. She'd looked at my life, the career, the house, the husband, and decided she deserved it more. Growing up, our parents had assigned us roles. My sister was the beauty. I was the smart one. She'd learned that her value came from looks. I'd learned that being smart meant working twice as hard for half the validation. She'd always dated men who treated her like an accessory. My husband had been different. Successful, stable, respectful. Or so I'd thought. What I hadn't realized was that she'd seen him as a trophy. Proof that she could have everything I had. And he'd seen her as an escape from a wife who worked too much. The worst part was my son. He was 15, old enough to know better. My sister had been cultivating a relationship with him for months. Taking him to concerts I was too busy to attend. Letting him drive her car in parking lots. Buying him expensive sneakers I'd said he needed to save up for. She'd positioned herself as the fun aunt. And I'd been the mom who worked late and nagged about homework. When I'd finally called him from the hotel, 2 days after everything fell apart, his voice had been cold. "Are you coming home?" he'd asked. "I don't know where home is anymore," I'd said. "Dad said you walked out." "Did he tell you why?" Silence. "Your father and your aunt have been having an affair," I said, "for over a year." More silence. Then quietly, "I kind of knew." Those 4 words destroyed something in me. "You knew?" I didn't know, no. But I saw them sometimes. The way they looked at each other. I thought maybe I was imagining it. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I don't know." "Mom, I thought maybe it would go away. And you were never around anyway." There it was. My son thought I deserved this because I worked too hard. Because I wasn't available enough. Wasn't enough. I hung up without saying goodbye. The grief was so heavy I thought it might crush my chest. Everyone I loved had decided I was expendable. Not worth protecting. Not worth the truth. And somehow that made it my fault for not being better, more present, more lovable. 3 days in that hotel room, and I finally understood. I'd lost them long before I'd found them on that couch. I just hadn't known it yet. My father called on day 4. Not to ask if I was okay. To summon me to a family meeting at my parents' house. "We need to discuss this situation like adults," he said, his voice carrying that particular tone he used when he'd already decided how things should go. "Saturday at 2. Don't be late." I should have refused, but some pathetic part of me still hoped they'd see reason. I drove to their house on Saturday. My sister's car was already in the driveway. So was my husband's truck. They'd carpooled. Inside, everyone was seated in the living room, my parents on the love seat, my sister and my husband side by side on the couch, her hand on his knee, my son in the armchair, not meeting my eyes. There was no seat left for me. I stood in the doorway. My father cleared his throat. We're here to figure out how to handle this with minimal damage to the family. Minimal damage? I repeated. My husband cheated on me with my sister for over a year. These things happen, my mother said quickly. People fall in love. It's unfortunate, but it's nobody's fault. Your sister has always been more emotionally fragile. My father added, You've always been the strong one. You can handle this. I could handle being betrayed, so that made it acceptable? What about you? I looked at my son. Do you have anything to say? He shifted uncomfortably. I mean, it's complicated, Mom. You're never home. Dad and her were both there. They got close. It just happened, I said flatly. For 14 months. My sister spoke, her voice trembling. I never meant to hurt you, but we can't help how we feel. Tears streamed down her face. Do you think this has been easy for me? The guilt? I've been suffering too. My mother immediately patted her hand. Sweetheart, don't cry. She's been suffering? I looked around, waiting for someone to acknowledge the insanity. No one did. Your sister feels things more deeply than you do, my mother said. This has been tearing her apart. She needs support right now. She needs family. And what about me? You'll be fine, my father said. You always are. You're resilient. You have your career. Your sister needs us. So what's the purpose of this meeting? To ask you to be mature about the divorce, my husband said. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Don't drag this out in court. We split assets fairly, and we move on. Fairly. Think about your son, he said. He doesn't need his parents fighting. He needs stability. He needs his mother. My son's face flushed. He said nothing. My sister wiped her eyes. We're not trying to take him from you. But the house is closer to his school. It makes sense for him to stay there during the week. You can see him weekends. How generous. Nobody stole anything, my father said firmly. You're being dramatic. This doesn't have to be a war. The only thing we're asking, my mother added, is that you handle this with dignity. No social media posts. No dragging the family name through the mud. We have a reputation in this community. That's what this was really about. They were worried about embarrassment. Your sister didn't choose this, my mother continued. Love isn't a choice. The fact that she's here, trying to work through this with you, shows how much she cares about family. I looked at my sister, who had summoned fresh tears. She'd always been good at playing victim. What happens now? I asked. You agree to an amicable divorce, my husband said. We put the house on the market, split the proceeds. We work out custody that makes sense for everyone. By makes sense, you mean he lives with you. It's what he wants. I looked at my son one more time. He still wouldn't meet my eyes. Fine, I said. I'll sign whatever you want. But I'm done with all of you. Don't be childish, my father said. We're still family. No, I said quietly. We're not. I walked out. Nobody followed. Nobody called my name. That night, I found a studio apartment in a different part of town. Small, old, in a rundown building. But it was mine. A place where nobody had betrayed me yet. The divorce papers arrived 3 weeks later. The house would be sold. Assets split 60-40 in his favor. Minimal spousal support for 2 years. Our son would live with his father. I'd have visitation every other weekend. I signed everything. What was the point? I'd already lost everything that mattered. The apartment was in a neighborhood I'd never had reason to visit before. Chain-link fences separated identical concrete buildings. Cars parked on lawns. You could hear neighbors' conversations through walls thin as paper. Studio meant one room for everything. The kitchen was a hot plate and mini fridge in a corner. The bathroom had mold I couldn't scrub away. The carpet was beige and stained. $800 a month, half my previous mortgage. It felt like a fortune now. I moved in with 2 suitcases and my laptop. Everything else stayed in the house being sold. I slept on an air mattress from a discount store. Ate cereal standing at the counter because I had no table. The commute became a nightmare. 2 buses and a train, nearly 2 hours each way. I left at 6 in the morning, got home after 8 at night. My coworkers stopped asking if I was okay. The answer was obvious from the circles under my eyes and my 3 outfits on rotation. My son was supposed to visit that first weekend. I'd bought his favorite snacks, ingredients for pancakes. I'd inflated the air mattress extra firm so we could both sit on it to watch movies on my laptop. He texted Friday. Can't make it this weekend. Got plans with friends. Sorry. Next weekend. Dad's taking me to a concert. Maybe next time? The one after. Homework. Really behind. Need to focus. I stopped planning for his visits. Stopped buying his favorite foods. 3 months in, I was drowning. Not dramatically, just slowly, quietly sinking. Work was automatic. Home was silent. Weekends stretched like deserts. On a Saturday with nothing to do, I stared at the hot plate and mixing bowls from the thrift store. I'd always liked baking, though I'd rarely had time. My grandmother had taught me when I was young. It was one of the few pure memories I had left. I made a simple chocolate cake. While it baked, the apartment filled with a smell that felt almost like comfort. When I pulled it out and let it cool, I ate a slice standing at the counter. It was good. Really good. My neighbor knocked an hour later. An older woman I'd seen in passing. "I could smell that through the walls," she said. "Haven't had homemade cake in years." I gave her a slice. She ate it right there, closing her eyes. "Lord, that's good. You should sell these." "I'm not that good," I said automatically. "Sugar, I've lived 73 years. I know good cake. You could make money with this." That night, lying on the air mattress, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I needed extra income. The spousal support would run out eventually. And I needed something. A purpose beyond surviving. I started small. Made 2 dozen cupcakes and brought them to work. Left them in the break room with a note. "Homemade cupcakes, $2 each. Money goes to charity." They sold out in an hour. The next week, I took pre-orders. Made 4 dozen. Sold every single one. I opened an Instagram account. Fresh Start Bakery. Posted photos of cakes made in that cramped kitchenette. The lighting was terrible, angles amateur, but the imperfection felt honest. My first real order came from someone at work who wanted a birthday cake. She paid me $60. I spent $40 on better ingredients, pocketed $20. It felt like winning the lottery. More orders trickled in. A colleague's colleague. Someone who saw my Instagram. Local folks who appreciated that I delivered personally, priced fairly, that the cakes tasted homemade. 4 months after the divorce finalized, I was making an extra $400 to $500 a month. Enough to buy new work clothes, to stop eating cereal for dinner, to feel like maybe I wasn't drowning anymore. My son called sometimes. Duty calls. "Hey, Mom, just checking in." "Yeah, everything's fine. School's good." "Okay, gotta go." He never asked how I was. Never asked about the apartment. I was a checkbox. Call Mom once a month. Done. My sister posted photos on social media. Her and my ex at restaurants. Weekend trips. My son in several shots, smiling wider than he had with me. They looked like a family. I stopped checking her profile. Stopped torturing myself. 6 months in, I was making enough from cakes to quit accounting. The decision terrified me. No safety net, no benefits. But the commute was killing me. And orders were consistent. I gave 2 weeks' notice. My boss seemed concerned. "Whatever you're going through, I hope it gets better," she said. "It already has," I told her. Part of me meant it. The first month working for myself was harder than expected. Some weeks I made decent money. Others, barely enough for rent. I learned to budget to the dollar. Learned which stores had the best deals. Learned to shop at thrift stores for tools. But for the first time since that horrible Tuesday, I was building something that was mine. Something no one could take. Something that had nothing to do with who I'd been married to. It wasn't much, but it was a start. 8 months into Fresh Start Bakery, something shifted. A bride contacted me through Instagram. Her original baker had canceled last minute. Some family emergency. The wedding was in 3 weeks. I should have said no. A wedding cake was beyond anything I'd attempted. 3 tiers, specific colors, fondant work I'd only seen in videos. But she was desperate, crying on the phone, and the deposit was more than I made in a good month. I said yes. Those 3 weeks I barely slept. Practiced fondant techniques until my hands cramped, watched tutorials at 2 in the morning. The tiny apartment kitchen became a laboratory of failed attempts and small victories. The wedding was on a Saturday in June. I delivered the cake myself, hands shaking as I set it up. When the bride saw it, she cried. Happy tears. "It's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted." She posted photos that night. Tagged my Instagram. By Sunday morning, I had 200 new followers. By Monday, 15 messages requesting quotes. One message came from a food blogger with 30,000 followers. She'd been at the wedding as a guest. She wanted to feature me in her local artisan series. I explained I didn't have a commercial kitchen, just my apartment's hot plate and mismatched equipment. She loved it more. "This is the story," she said. "Woman rebuilds her life from nothing, creates beautiful things in impossible circumstances. It's inspiring." The feature went live 2 weeks later. Raw, honest, hopeful. Photos of me working in that cramped space. Flower on my cheek, smiling. The comment section filled with people saying they were rooting for me. Orders exploded. 20, 30 requests a day. I had to start a waiting list. Had to raise prices just to manage demand. Within a month, I'd rented actual commercial kitchen space. Small but legitimate. Professional equipment. Room to work. For the first time since the divorce, I felt like I was winning. I should have known better. My sister saw everything. Every Instagram post, every success, every comment praising me. She'd been watching obsessively, screenshotting, showing them to my ex-husband. They were living together by then. He'd proposed. My son wore a suit to their engagement party and posted a photo with them. One big, happy family. But my sister wasn't happy. The more I succeeded, the angrier she got. The worse it made her look. The woman who destroyed her sister's life for a man already getting bored of her. The first bad review appeared 3 weeks after the blog feature. 1 star on my business page. Found a hair in my cake. Absolutely disgusting. Do not order from this place. I was mortified. Apologized profusely, offered a full refund. The customer never responded to my messages. Then another review. Cake was dry and flavorless. Waste of money. And another. Unprofessional. Showed up late for delivery and cake was damaged. I hadn't delivered any damaged cakes. Hadn't had any complaints about dryness. But the reviews kept coming. All 1 star, all vague enough to be believable. My Instagram comments started filling with trolls. Saw the bad reviews. Guessed the sob story was fake. Anyone can take pretty pictures. Doesn't mean the food is good. Orders started canceling. New inquiries dried up. People who'd been excited suddenly had concerns about quality. The worst came 2 weeks into the attack. A customer I delivered to the day before called me, her voice shaking. I need to send you a photo. I don't want to accuse you of anything, but... The photo showed the cake I'd made. Beautiful, exactly as ordered. But on the side of the box, clearly visible, was a cockroach. Dead, positioned perfectly for the camera. I opened the box and saw this, she said. I can't serve this to my daughter's birthday party. I stared at the photo. I knew my kitchen. I knew my standards. There was no way a cockroach had gotten into that box. It had been planted, but I couldn't prove it. And the customer posted the photo to her social media, tagging my business. It went viral locally. Local baker delivers cake with cockroach. Headlines on community blogs. The commercial kitchen got inspected immediately. Found nothing wrong, of course. But the damage was done. My Instagram became a battlefield. More orders canceled. The waiting list evaporated. My savings started draining as I paid for the commercial kitchen I wasn't using. I sat on the floor of that empty kitchen one night, orders down to almost nothing, and tried to understand what I'd done wrong. I'd been so careful, so meticulous. I didn't know yet that my sister had orchestrated everything, paid people to make fake orders and leave bad reviews, hired someone to follow my delivery route and plant that cockroach. All of it calculated to destroy me exactly when I was finally climbing out of the hole she'd thrown me into. 2 months after the sabotage started, Fresh Start Bakery was barely surviving. I'd lost 70% of my business. The blogger who'd featured me posted an apology saying she'd been deceived. I was back to eating cereal for dinner. Behind on rent for the commercial space, considering crawling back to corporate accounting. My sister posted photos from her bridal shower during this time. All smiles. Our mother commented, "So proud of my beautiful girl." No one mentioned me. No one cared that I was drowning again. Some nights I thought about giving up entirely. Not just the business, everything. What was the point? But something stubborn in me wouldn't quit. Not yet. Not while I still had any fight left. My son was home alone when he found it. His father and my sister had gone out to dinner, celebrating their engagement again. They'd been celebrating for weeks, leaving him behind each time. He was 15, almost 16, old enough to be left alone, old enough to feel forgotten. He told me later that he'd been looking for his charger. His phone was dead. My sister's phone was on the coffee table, unlocked. She'd been scrolling when they left and just set it down, too excited to remember to lock it. He wasn't trying to snoop, not at first. He just picked it up to move it while he searched the couch cushions. But the screen was lit, open to a text conversation with a friend. And right there at the top, he saw my name. He scrolled up, read the messages, all of them. His aunt, laughing about the cockroach incident, bragging about paying someone $50 to plant it, screenshots of negative reviews she'd written herself, links to fake customer profiles. The sanctimonious little bakery queen is finally getting what she deserves. One message read, "She always thought she was so much better than me. Well, look at her now." I can't believe how easy it was to destroy everything she built. A few fake reviews and one well-placed bug. Pathetic. Her friend responded with laughing emojis. You're terrible. But honestly, she had it coming. My son kept reading. The messages went back months. Plans. Coordination. My sister discussing strategy with my ex-husband. Him suggesting which delivery routes to follow. Her celebrating when devastating reviews went up. And near the bottom, your son doesn't suspect anything, does he? My ex-husband's reply, he's a kid. He doesn't notice anything. Besides, he's on our side now. She lost him all by herself. My son told me he just sat there, staring at that message. As if his choice to abandon me had been inevitable. As if I'd deserved it. But reading those messages, he started remembering. Really remembering. Me waking at 5 to make his favorite breakfast. Working late, but always calling to say goodnight. Missing sleep to help him study. The birthday parties, the soccer games, the way I'd always put him first. And he'd chosen them. The people actively trying to destroy me. He heard the car 30 minutes later. They were laughing as they came in. He was standing in the living room, holding her phone. My sister saw him first. Her face went pale. What are you doing with my phone? I read it, he said, voice shaking. All of it. What you did to her. My ex-husband's expression hardened. Put that down. That's private. Private? You destroyed her business. You hired someone to sabotage her. You laughed about it. My sister reached for the phone. He stepped back. How could you do that? She's my mother. She's your sister. You don't understand, my sister said quickly. It's complicated. Don't. I read what you wrote. How you bragged. How you thought it was funny. Give her the phone, my ex-husband said sharply. Now. Why? So you can delete the evidence? Watch your tone. You said I chose to leave her. You said she lost me all by herself, but you were destroying her the whole time. My sister started crying. We didn't mean for it to go this far. She was doing so well, and I was struggling, and it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair? She was doing well because she worked her ass off after you destroyed her life. And you couldn't even let her have that? Don't speak to her like that, my ex-husband said. My son's expression changed, hardened. He looked at his father and saw someone he didn't recognize. I'm going to Mom's, he said. No, you're not. Yeah, I am, tonight. It's a school night. Her place is too far. I don't care. We've given you a good life here, my ex-husband said tightly. Everything you need. What does she have? A studio apartment in a bad neighborhood? She has the fact that she isn't a lying piece of shit, my son said. My ex-husband moved fast, got in his face. I'm still your father. You will not speak to me that way. Then act like one. They stared at each other. My son realized in that moment his father didn't actually care about him. He was just another possession to take from me. I'm leaving, my son said quietly. I'm packing a bag, and I'm going to Mom's. If you try to stop me, I'll send these screenshots to everyone. Family, friends, your work, Mom's old customers, everyone. My sister made a small sound. You wouldn't. Try me. He went to his room, packed a backpack with clothes, school stuff, his laptop. They didn't follow, just watched him walk out. He took a bus, then another, then a train. 90 minutes to my neighborhood. He'd never been there before. When he knocked on my door at almost 11 o'clock, I barely recognized him. He looked younger, smaller. His eyes were red. Mom, he said. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can I come in? I didn't answer. I just pulled him inside and held him while he sobbed. We sat on the air mattress until 3 in the morning. Him talking, me listening. He showed me every screenshot he'd taken. The messages, the plans, the cruel jokes, evidence of everything. I didn't cry. Instead, I felt something cold and clarifying settle in my chest. When he finally stopped talking, exhausted, I made him look at me. I'm glad you're here, I said. But I need you to understand something. You destroyed me when you left. You chose them over me when I needed you most. I can't just pretend that didn't happen. He nodded. Tears starting again. I know. I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough, I said. If you want to stay, if you want to rebuild what we had, it's going to be on my terms. Okay, he whispered. You'll live here. This tiny apartment where you'll sleep on the couch. You'll take the bus to school, even though it's 2 hours each way. You'll work in the business every weekend for free, learning what it means to build something from nothing. He nodded, wiping his face. No allowance. No new sneakers just because you want them. You'll learn to budget, to save, to work for what you want. And most importantly, you'll learn that actions have consequences. that you can't just say sorry and expect everything to go back to normal. I understand, he said. Do you? Because this isn't going to be easy. Your father's house had everything. Here, we have barely enough. I don't care about that stuff anymore. We'll see, I said. The next morning, we sat at the counter and went through the screenshots. My son had been thorough. Dozens of messages, clear evidence of coordination, proof of payment for fake reviews. What are we going to do with these? He asked. I thought about it. The vindictive part of me wanted to blast them over social media immediately. But I'd learned something. Public revenge feels good for a moment, but it doesn't rebuild what was lost. We're going to be smart, I said. We're going to use them to tell the truth, but we're going to do it right. I drafted a video script. Simple, direct, emotional, but controlled. My son wanted to be in it, to apologize publicly. Are you sure? I asked. Once this is out there, it's out there. Good, he said. Let them see. We filmed it on my phone. Me in the commercial kitchen, him next to me. I explained what had happened. The sabotage, the fake reviews, the planted evidence, the systematic destruction of my business. I didn't name names. Anyone who knew our family would understand. Then my son spoke. His voice shook, but he didn't stop. I'm her son, he said. And I abandoned her when she needed me most. I chose the people who were hurting her. I didn't ask questions. I didn't defend her. He paused. I'm not asking anyone to forgive me. I'm just asking you to know the truth. My mom didn't fail. She was sabotaged. And she's still here, still fighting. If you gave her business a chance before, please give it another chance now. We posted it Monday morning. By noon, 5,000 views. By evening, 50,000. The comments became a war zone. People defending us, calling us liars, sharing their own stories. Former customers came forward saying the bad reviews had seemed fake. The food blogger reached out. I'm sorry, can I do a follow-up piece? Yes, I said, but only if you come see the operation yourself. She came that week, spent a whole day watching me work, interviewing customers, documenting everything. The piece she published was scathing toward my saboteurs without naming them, and glowing toward the business. Orders started trickling back, slowly, then faster. People who'd canceled wanting to try again. New customers wanting to support the comeback. My son kept his promise. Every weekend in the kitchen with me, learning to measure ingredients, to pipe frosting, to handle orders. He wasn't naturally good at it. Dropped things, mixed up orders, got frustrated. But he kept showing up. The 2-hour commute wore him down. He'd come home exhausted, still have homework, then help me prep. He lost weight. Dark circles appeared under his eyes. You can go back, I told him one night. Your father's house is closer. He looked up, eyes fierce. I'm not going back, ever. 3 months after he moved in, we had a real conversation. Do you hate me? He asked one Saturday night. No, I said honestly. But I'm still hurt, still angry. You can't erase what happened just by working hard for a few months. I know. I just need you to know I see it now. How hard you worked, how much you sacrificed, and how badly I messed up. I see it too, I said. I see you trying. That matters. Does it matter enough? Ask me in a year, I said. 6 months after the video, Fresh Start Bakery was back. Not just surviving, thriving. We'd recovered most of the lost business and gained new customers. I hired part-time help, got caught up on rent, started saving again. My son turned 16. I couldn't afford a car or a big party, but I made him a cake. His favorite. Chocolate with peanut butter frosting, and we ate it together in the apartment. Thank you, he said. For what? For letting me come back. For not giving up on me. You're my son, I said simply. I was always going to let you come back, but you had to earn staying. Have I? I looked at him. Really looked. The boy who'd abandoned me was gone. In his place was someone harder, humbler, more aware. You're getting there, I said. And for the first time in over a year, I smiled at him without reservation. I found out about my sister's pregnancy through social media. A perfectly staged photo, her hand on her barely visible bump, my ex-husband's hand over hers. The caption, "Our greatest adventure begins, baby arriving February." My son showed me without saying anything, watching my face. Are you okay? He asked. I was surprised to realize I was. No jealousy, no fresh pain, just distant pity. Yeah, I said. I'm okay. What I didn't know was that the photo had been my sister's desperate attempt to lock him down before he could slip away. It didn't work. I heard the first rumors 3 months later. A former coworker mentioned that my ex-husband had been seen at restaurants with a woman from his office. Young, pretty, laughing at his jokes. We're divorced, I reminded her. What he does isn't my business anymore. But my son started hearing things too. Friends whose parents knew my ex. Whispers that he was cheating. Again. Do you think it's true? My son asked me one night. Probably, I said. People don't change. Not really. My sister was 5 months pregnant when she confronted him. My ex-husband called my son one evening, drunk, rambling about how my sister was overreacting. She saw messages on my phone. Made a scene. I told her the truth. I'm not happy. She's too needy. Too emotional. It's exhausting. My son hung up without saying goodbye. The divorce, my ex-husband's second one, moved fast. This time, he had everything protected. Prenup. Assets in trusts. Money moved into accounts my sister couldn't touch. She got nothing. Not the house. Not his retirement. Not even enough child support to matter. His lawyers argued that she was capable of working, that he'd only been married to her for 18 months. By the time the baby was born, a boy, my sister was living in a small apartment. Not quite as bad as mine had been, but close. She'd gone back to work 2 weeks after giving birth. Retail job, minimum wage, her social media went quiet. My parents, who'd been so quick to support her, were suddenly too old and tired to help much. They'd watch the baby occasionally, but made it clear they couldn't be relied on. The man she'd destroyed her sister for had left her pregnant, broke and alone, and nobody felt sorry for her. I didn't take pleasure in it. Not the way I thought I would. Mostly I just felt tired. But my son had a different reaction. She deserves this, he said one day, 8 months after his baby half-brother was born. Everything that's happening to her. Maybe, I said. But that baby didn't deserve any of it. He was quiet. Then, do you ever think about meeting him? My brother? No, I said honestly. He's not my responsibility. Not my family. But he's mine, kind of. That's your choice to make, I said. Not mine. He didn't pursue it. But I could tell he thought about it sometimes. Meanwhile, Fresh Start Bakery kept growing. We opened a second location. Small, but real. My son was officially on payroll now. We'd moved out of the studio into a 2-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy, but we each had our own room. One evening, about a year after my sister's baby was born, my mother called. First time in months. How are you? She asked, voice careful. Fine, busy. The business is doing well? Yes. Long pause. Then, your sister is struggling. I know. She's working 2 jobs now. The baby stays with strangers most days. She's exhausted. Okay, I said, neutral. Don't you care? Should I? She's your sister. She stopped being my sister when she slept with my husband, I said. And definitely when she tried to destroy my business. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, Mom. It was years of choices designed to hurt me. She's paying for it now. Good, I said, and meant it. My mother made a small sound. Your father and I are getting older. When we're gone, you and your sister will only have each other. Then I guess I'll be alone, I said. I'm used to it. She hung up shortly after. Didn't call again. My son asked about the conversation. I told him honestly. Do you think you'll ever forgive her? He asked. I don't know, I said. Forgiveness isn't really the issue. It's about whether I want her in my life, whether I trust her, and the answer to both is no. What if she apologizes? She already did. Multiple times, while she was sabotaging me. He nodded, understanding. The thing about karma is that it doesn't feel satisfying the way you think it will. My sister's life was falling apart. My ex was already on to his next relationship. My parents were isolated, aging, watching their daughters hate each other. And me? I was building something. Not perfect, not easy, but mine. That was the real revenge. Not their suffering. My survival. I didn't see my sister in person for almost 2 years. Just glimpses through other people's stories. My mother's worried phone calls that I mostly ignored. Then one Saturday afternoon, I saw her. I was at the grocery store, the nice one I could finally afford. My son was with me, helping pick ingredients for next week's orders. We were laughing when I turned the corner into the produce section, and there she was. I almost didn't recognize her. The sister I remembered had always been put together. Hair styled, makeup perfect, expensive-looking clothes. The woman standing in front of the discount vegetable bin looked like she'd aged 10 years in 2. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, roots growing out. No makeup, sweatpants and a stained t-shirt. Spit up, probably. Her face was gaunt, exhausted beyond just lack of sleep. She had a baby in a worn carrier on her chest, maybe 18 months old, sleeping. In one hand, a calculator. In the other, she was picking through damaged vegetables marked down. I watched her add up prices, put items back, add them again, calculating every dollar, My son saw her too. Stopped mid-sentence, frozen. She looked up, saw us. Nobody moved. Then her face did something complicated. Shame, anger, desperation. "I have to go," she said, abandoning her cart and walking quickly toward the exit. "Wait!" my son called. But she was gone, practically running, the baby bouncing against her chest. We stood there, me holding organic strawberries that cost more than her entire cart probably did. "Should we have said something?" my son asked. "I don't know," I said honestly. That night, over dinner, he said, "She looked really bad, Mom." I know. The baby was in a carrier that looked like it came from a thrift store. And she was shopping damaged produce. I saw. Don't you care? I thought about it. Really thought. Part of me does. The part that remembers us as kids. But mostly, I just feel nothing. She made choices. Those choices had consequences. But the baby didn't make any choices. No, I agreed. He didn't. My son pushed food around his plate. I've been thinking about trying to meet him. My brother. Okay. Would that be okay with you? He's your family, I said. Not mine. You get to decide. He didn't pursue it that night, but I could see him thinking about it. Meanwhile, I started hearing more about my sister's situation. She was working 2 jobs. Retail during the day, cleaning offices at night. The baby went to a neighbor who watched several kids, probably unlicensed, definitely cheap. My sister was living in a 1-bedroom place even smaller than my old studio, in a worse neighborhood. She'd tried to get more child support, but my ex-husband's lawyers had destroyed her in court. Proved she'd been unemployed by choice during the marriage, that she'd spent frivolously, that the affair proved her moral character was questionable. The judge hadn't been sympathetic. My ex-husband was living well, already engaged to the woman he'd cheated with. They'd bought a house, posted vacation photos. He saw neither of his sons, sent the bare minimum in support payments. He asked me to his wedding, my son told me one evening. "Are you going to go?" "No," he said immediately. "I don't even want to respond." "That's your choice." 3 months after the grocery store encounter, my mother called. Different tone. Desperate. "Your sister's power got shut off," she said without preamble. "She couldn't pay the bill. It's winter. She has a baby. Why are you telling me?" "Because your father and I can't help. We're already covering her rent this month. So you want me to pay her power bill? She's your sister. That baby is your nephew." "No," I said simply. "He's not. And she's not my sister anymore. How can you be so cold?" "I learned from the best," I said. "You and Dad taught me that family doesn't mean anything when it's inconvenient. I'm just applying those lessons." "We were wrong," my mother said. Voice breaking. "We should have supported you. We're sorry." "Okay," I said. "Doesn't that matter?" "Not really. Sorry doesn't pay back rent. It doesn't undo the sabotage. It doesn't give me back the 2 years I spent barely surviving. So, you're just going to let her suffer?" "I'm going to let her experience exactly what she wanted me to experience," I said. "The difference is I didn't do anything to deserve it. She did." My mother hung up crying. My son had overheard. "Do you really not feel anything?" he asked. "I feel tired," I said. "I'm tired of being expected to be the bigger person, to forgive, to help, to care. I did that my whole life and all it got me was betrayed. So what now?" "Now, nothing. We keep building our life, and we let her figure out hers." But that night, lying in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about that baby. 18 months old, living in an apartment with no heat in winter, with a mother too exhausted and broke to provide basic stability. I didn't owe my sister anything. That was true. But the echo of my son's words kept repeating, the baby didn't make any choices. Neither had I, when this all started. And yet, I'd suffered anyway. The question wasn't whether my sister deserved help. She didn't. The question was who I wanted to be. I didn't have an answer yet, but I was starting to think I'd need one soon. She showed up at the commercial kitchen on a Tuesday afternoon. I was assembling a 3-tier cake when I heard the door open. I looked up, expecting my delivery driver. Instead, my sister stood in the doorway, baby on her hip. She looked worse than at the grocery store. Thinner, dark circles like bruises. The baby was fussy, pulling at her hair. She wore a jacket too thin for the weather, hands shaking. "Hi," she said, voice small. I set down my piping bag. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you. I'm working. Please, just 5 minutes. My son was in the back, probably listening. 2 minutes, I said. She shifted the baby higher. He was whining, reaching for something. She looked around the kitchen, the professional equipment, the organized workspace, and her face crumpled. I need help, she said simply. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? Something, anything, she was crying now. I know I don't deserve it. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I'm desperate. I have nowhere else to go. You have mom and dad. They're already covering my rent. They can't do more. Get a better job. I'm trying. I have 2 jobs already. 70 hours a week, it's still not enough. The baby started crying louder. She bounced him absently, staring at me with desperate eyes. I'm sorry, she said. I'm so sorry for everything. For the affair, for the sabotage, for choosing him over you. I was jealous and bitter and cruel. Okay, I said again. Can you say something else, please? What do you want me to say? That it's okay? It's not. That I forgive you? I don't. Then what? I don't have anything to say to you. You destroyed my life deliberately. You laughed about it. And now you want what? Sympathy? Money? Help, she whispered. I just need help. I needed help too when you were sabotaging my business. When I was eating cereal for dinner. When my son abandoned me because you manipulated him. Where were you? I know. I'm a horrible person. Knowing it doesn't change anything. She was quiet. Then, he's just a baby. He didn't do anything wrong. Neither did I. But you're okay now, she said, gesturing around. You made it. I'm drowning. We're drowning. Because of your choices. I know. Her voice rose. The baby cried harder. I know it's my fault. But he deserves food and heat and stability. He deserves better. I looked at the baby, crying, reaching for his mother's face. She was still just holding him mechanically, focused on me. Please, she said. A loan, a job, anything. I'm 8 months behind on rent. We're going to be evicted next week. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you tried to destroy my business. You're right, but please don't punish him for what I did. Then she said it. He's almost your nephew too, you know. He's your son's brother. He has your ex-husband's blood. That makes him almost family. I stared at her. Almost family? I just mean, you want me to help you raise the child you had with the man who cheated on me? You think that's a compelling argument? When you put it like that, how else would I put it? She was crying harder. I thought maybe you'd care about him even if you don't care about me. I don't care about either of you. You made sure of that. What about the sabotage? I could post publicly, admit what I did, apologize to everyone. It's too late. The damage is done. We already recovered. Then what? What can I do? There's nothing. You burned that bridge and salted the earth. So you're just going to let us be homeless? Let a baby live on the street? You should have thought about that baby before you decided to destroy me. My son appeared in the doorway. He looked at his aunt, at his baby brother, then at me. My sister saw him. Please. You understand, don't you? You know what it's like to realize you made a mistake. You came back. Your mom let you come back. Can't you convince her? No, he said quietly. But he's your brother. And you tried to destroy my mother, he said. After you already destroyed her once, you don't get to ask us for anything. My sister's face collapsed. She made a sound like a wounded animal. The baby was screaming. You need to leave, I said. I have nowhere to go. That's not my problem. He'll end up in foster care. If I lose the apartment, they'll take him. Is that what you want? What I want, I said carefully, is for you to leave my business and never come back. She stood there for another moment, swaying, the baby screaming. Then she turned and walked out. Through the window, I watched her get into a car that looked like it might not start. It did, eventually. She drove away. My son was still in the doorway. That was brutal, he said finally. Yes, I agreed. Do you feel bad? I don't know, I said honestly. Ask me tomorrow. But that night, lying in bed, all I could hear was that baby screaming, and all I could see was my sister's face. Desperate, destroyed, defeated. I'd won. Completely. She had nothing, and I had everything. So why did it feel so hollow? She came back 3 days later. I'd almost expected it. This time I was alone. My son was at school. The kitchen was quiet. She knocked instead of just walking in. When I opened the door, she looked even worse, like she hadn't slept in 3 days. The baby wasn't with her. Where is he? I asked. With a neighbor. I didn't want to use him to manipulate you again. Okay. She stood there. Finally, she said, I'm not here to beg this time. Then why are you here? I need you to hear me before I go. You have 5 minutes. She took a breath. You were always better than me. At everything. School, work, life. You made things look easy. I struggled with everything and you just succeeded. And I hated you for it. I know. No, you don't. You don't understand how deep it went. Every single thing you accomplished felt like a personal attack. Your job, your marriage, your house. All of it felt like you were rubbing my face in how much better you were. That's not my problem, I said. I know, but I need you to understand why I did what I did. It wasn't just about wanting what you had. It was about needing to prove I could take it, that I could win for once. You didn't win. You destroyed both of us. I know that now. But when I was doing it, it felt like power. Like finally, I was the one who mattered. I leaned against the doorframe. Is that supposed to make me feel sorry for you? No, it's supposed to make you understand that I'm not asking you to help me because I think I deserve it. I'm asking because I've learned something you apparently haven't. What's that? That revenge doesn't actually fix anything. You're right. I destroyed your life. But you watching me suffer doesn't undo any of that. It just means we're both damaged. Except I'm not suffering, I said. I rebuilt. I won. Did you? She looked at me steadily. Because from where I'm standing, you look just as bitter as I was. Just as consumed. You say you've moved on, but you're still so angry you can't even help an innocent child. Don't you dare make this about morality, I said, voice cold. You don't get to lecture me. You're right. But somebody needs to tell you that this coldness, this cruelty, it's turning you into me, the version of me I was when I hurt you. No, I said firmly. I'm nothing like you. Aren't you, though? You're using your power over me exactly the way I used mine over you. You're enjoying my suffering the way I enjoyed yours. How is that different? Because I earned this. You tried to steal it. And now you're using what you earned to punish me, to make me pay, just like I used what I had to hurt you. I wanted to argue, but something in her words hit too close. I destroyed you because I was jealous and insecure. You're destroying me because you're angry and hurt. The motivations are different, but the result is the same. Someone suffers. What do you want from me? I asked, exhausted. Nothing. I'm done asking. I just wanted you to know that I finally understand what I took from you, and I wanted you to understand what you're choosing to become. I'm choosing to protect myself. No, you're choosing revenge. And it's your right. But don't pretend it's something else. You're actively choosing to let me fall. You deserve to fall. Maybe. Probably. But he doesn't. My son. He doesn't deserve any of this. And you know that. You're choosing to let it happen anyway. He's not my responsibility. No, he's not. But you could help him anyway. You could be better than I was. You could break the cycle. Why should I? Because you're supposed to be the good one, she said simply. You're the one who works hard and makes good choices and doesn't hurt people. But if you let a baby suffer just to make me pay, then what does that make you? I felt something crack in my chest. Anger, hot and bright. You don't get to do this. You don't get to make me the villain. I'm not. You are the hero. I'm the villain. I accept that. But every hero has a choice. Be better than the villain, or become one themselves. Get out, I said. I'm going. I just needed you to hear it first. She turned to leave, then looked back. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. Not because I want something, just because it's true. I destroyed the best person in my life because I couldn't stand how good she was. She walked away, got in her car, drove off. I stood in the doorway for a long time. That night, my son asked if she'd come back. Yes, I said. What did she want? To make me feel guilty. Did it work? I thought about it. I don't know. He was quiet. Then, I think she's right. About one thing. The baby didn't do anything wrong. And we could help him without helping her. How? I don't know. But there has to be a way, right? Maybe. But I'm not ready to think about that yet. When will you be ready? I don't know that either. But I thought about it. For days. About my sister's words. About my son's question. About the screaming baby and the desperate woman and the choice I was making. She was right about one thing. I was choosing. Actively, deliberately choosing to let them fall. And I had to decide if I could live with that choice. If I could look at myself and still see someone I respected. If winning was worth becoming the person I'd always hated. I didn't have an answer yet, but I was starting to suspect what it might be. And that terrified me. I didn't help her. That needs to be clear from the start. I didn't pay her rent, didn't offer her a job, didn't rescue her from the consequences of her choices. But I did make one phone call, to a social worker I knew through a customer. I explained the situation, vaguely. A single mother, struggling, baby at risk. Did they have resources? She gave me a list. Food assistance, housing vouchers, subsidized daycare, legal aid for child support enforcement. I left a printed copy in an envelope at my parents' house. Didn't sign it. Just the resources. What she did with them wasn't my responsibility. A month later, my mother called. Did you leave those papers? What papers? The resources. For your sister. I don't know what you're talking about. She was quiet. Then, thank you. I didn't do anything. I hung up. The business kept growing. We opened a third location. My son graduated high school and took a gap year to work full-time with me. He was good at it now. He had ideas, energy, vision. We were building something real together. I heard through my parents, who I spoke to maybe once every few months, polite and distant, that my sister had avoided eviction. She'd gotten into a housing program, enrolled her son in subsidized daycare. Still struggling, but no longer drowning. Good, for the baby's sake. I didn't reach out. The bridge between us didn't exist anymore. There was nothing to rebuild. My ex-husband married his third wife. My son showed me photos. I felt nothing. He looked older. The woman looked young and excited. I wondered how long before he got bored. Do you ever think about him? My son asked. No, he's not worth the mental energy. Do you hate him? I don't feel anything about him at all. That's better than hate. My parents got older. My mother had a health scare. She asked to see me, to make peace. I went. Not because I'd forgiven them, but because I was no longer angry enough to refuse. We were wrong, my father said. We should have supported you. Yes, you should have. Can you forgive us? I thought about it. Maybe eventually. But right now, no. What can we do? Nothing. We're polite, we're civil, but we're not close. And maybe we never will be again. My mother cried. I didn't. 6 months later, we did a photo shoot for a local magazine. From rock bottom to rising star, a local baker's success story. They wanted the narrative, betrayal, comeback. I gave them a careful version. The article came out beautifully. Orders flooded in. One evening, I got a DM from my sister. First direct contact in 3 years. I saw the article. You didn't mention me by name. Thank you. I stared at it. Then I blocked her. My son saw me do it. Was that her? Yes. What did she want? To thank me for not destroying her reputation. Are you going to respond? No. There's nothing to say. That's when I realized it was over. Really over. Not because I'd forgiven her or because she'd suffered enough, but because I'd stopped caring. She was just a person now. Someone I used to know. Someone who'd hurt me, but someone who didn't occupy space in my mind anymore. The business thrived. 4 locations. My son applied to college, business management. So when you're ready to retire, I can take over. I'm not retiring. Not yet, but someday. I looked at him, almost 19 now. Confident, capable, kind. You're already ready, I said. On the 3rd anniversary of that Tuesday afternoon, I realized I'd forgotten the exact date. It had just been another day. That's when I knew I'd won. Not because she was suffering, not because I'd built something successful, but because her actions no longer defined my life. I posted that evening, a picture of a cake. The caption, "Fresh starts aren't about forgetting the past. They're about proving to yourself that you're worth more than others tried to make you believe." Thousands of likes. Comments from people sharing their own stories of rebuilding, surviving betrayal, finding themselves after loss. You helped a lot of people, Mom, my son said. I just told the truth. That's enough sometimes. We closed the kitchen that night, working side by side. Outside, the city moved on, but inside, everything felt solid. Real. Mine. The best revenge wasn't making them suffer. It was living so well that their opinions stopped mattering, building a life so full that their absence became irrelevant. My sister was out there, struggling with consequences. My ex-husband probably already bored with wife number 3. My parents aging, regretting, too late. And me? I was here, working, building, living, not perfect, not healed completely, but whole enough, strong enough, free enough. The peace I'd found wasn't forgiveness, it was indifference, and that was so much better. That was so much better.